Hello and welcome. You're watching The Big Picture with me, Ishan Russell. Tonight our focus is on Arunachal Pradesh, where a political crisis is spiralling out of control. First, let's fill you in on what's been happening in the state. The Congress and the BJP are staring at a showdown in Arunachal Pradesh after the governor there, that's Jyoti Prasad Rajkhoa, advanced the state assembly session to December 16th from the originally proposed January 14th. The order by the BJP-appointed governor stipulates that a resolution seeking removal of the speaker would be the first item of business in this session. The Congress calls this action of the governor dictatorial, while the BJP says it has nothing to do with the matter and the governor has all the rights to do what he's done, in fact, the decision that he's taken. Now, the fact remains, though, there is a mutiny in the ranks of the ruling Congress party, with a large chunk of MLAs willing to defect. The issue resonated in Delhi as well, with repeated adjournments and disruptions in Parliament over the matter. And Congress President Sonia Gandhi and former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh also met President Pranab Mukherjee in this regard, asking for a recall of the governor. So who's right, who's wrong, and how does this political impasse move forward? To answer these questions tonight, I'm joined by Subhashri Kashyap, constitutional expert and former Secretary General of the Lok Sabha. Aditi Fadnis, political editor at the Business Standard, is here with us in the studio. We'll be soon joined by a representative of the BJP as well. And we're also joined by, from the Congress Party, national spokesperson of the party, Professor Rajiv Gowda. He's also a Rajya Sabha MP of the party. Professor Gowda, I'll come to you first. As far as the Congress is concerned, you've really taken this matter up seriously, and the way the party went about registering its protest over this issue certainly makes the matter really important for the party. Why are you saying that this is the governor being dictatorial?
Ishan, this is a clear case of an unconstitutional coup being attempted by the governor. This same government, the BJP government, who appointed this governor, 2 weeks ago spent days on discussing the constitution and trying to take over Ambedkar's legacy, and that turns out to be a mega sham. And what you see here are blatant attempts to undermine every aspect of the constitution regarding the functioning of an assembly, the functioning of a government, a duly elected majority state government, messing around with the speaker and the deputy speaker's roles, and the governor basically exceeding any limit, any rules that frame the office of governor according to various Supreme Court rulings, and essentially going all out to destabilize the government. What you're seeing in Arunachal Pradesh today is the beginning of the end of constitutionalism in this country. We are seeing something that is very, very alarming, and we must see action from the president, from the government. We have to have this governor removed. We need to ensure that constitutional provisions come and take primacy once again in Arunachal Pradesh.
All right, Aditi Fadnis, is the governor right in terms of what the constitution says about such a matter? And as far as this decision is concerned, the ramifications it has are indeed huge.
Let's go to the ramifications first. What are the ramifications and what are the facts? The facts are that Arunachal Pradesh Assembly has 60 MLAs, and out of that 47 are Congress. So which means the Congress has a sizable majority. BJP has only 11 MLAs.
Right.
There are 2 independents. In between, periodically there have been rumors that the BJP is trying to undermine the government, but it's very difficult to understand how, because with 11 MLAs there's no way you need a massive split in that situation. I believe that Mr. Tukey was not too favorably disposed towards the Modi government when the Modi government first came to power. In fact, he did not even go to meet Mr. Modi and felicitate him when Mr. Modi became Prime Minister.
Right.
But after that, things improved, and this was largely due to the interference and the helpfulness of the Minister of State for Home, Kiran Rijiju, who is also a MP from Arunachal. The Congress is claiming that this is a scam or a kind of a conspiracy by the Minister of State for Home, because remember, all the state matters are dealt with by the Home Ministry, by the Minister of State for Home, who has friends in the Congress who are willing to cross the floor, and the Northeast has a history of this kind of thing.
Right.
And the rebellion, so-called rebellion, is led by the former finance minister who has fallen out with Mr. Tukey.
Okay, so as far as the governor's role is concerned, then that begs question. I want to get in Subhash Kashyap in on this. He's a constitutional expert, former Secretary General of the Lok Sabha as well. So, sir, as far as the governor's decision is concerned, the constitutional validity of it is being questioned by the Congress party. What would your take on that be?
You see, normally the governor summons the House to meet or prorogues the House on the advice of the Council of Ministers. That has been the normal practice. But so far as the constitutional position, the position strictly in law is concerned, the governor acts on the advice of Council of Ministers except where he is required to act in his discretion. And the question whether a matter is in his discretion is to be finally decided only by him, and it cannot be questioned in a court of law. Therefore, the governor's action in preponing the assembly would be in accordance with the constitutional provision, but not in accordance with the normal practice that has been followed.
Okay, interesting distinction over there between the two, but the decision is right. Gopal Krishna Agarwal, national spokesperson of the BJP, joins us. Thank you very much for coming in. And you just heard Mr. Kashyap over there saying that the governor's decision is right, but as far as precedence and that kind of an affair goes, was it warranted? I mean, in fact, if the Congress party is witnessing that kind of a dissent, then easily things could have happened otherwise as well.
No, but this dissent is continuing for a longer period. And at present, it is clear from the session which was held in the school that 21 people from the even Congress party, 11 from BJP and 2 from independent came there. So the government is in minority. So ultimately in a democracy, the majority minority is an important factor for the governor to take a decision. So governor, I think it was on the governor's decision that we should not run a minority government, and this was continuing for such a long period. So this must be a decision of the governor that we should call for, and the people were complaining against the speaker. So I think it was within the purview of his constitutional power that he has called, and his wisdom also said this. So this was his decision, and we have to go by the majority in the
all right, the majority, rule of the majority. Professor Gaura, you wanted to comment on that before I go to Fadnis.
Yeah, Ishan, just take a look at what's going on here. The BJP is blatantly and openly supporting unconstitutional acts. Now, Mr. Kashyap said the governor has a discretion to do anything he or she wants, and without that being questioned. The governor's role has been constrained in numerous ways. Issues related, only when there is some kind of a crisis, when there is no government, when the government has lost its majority, only under all those
So, but that is what Mr. Agarwal is saying, that the government there seems to have lost the majority.
Exercise that discretion. It is not a case of the governor being able to do anything and everything. The issue of majority has to be proven according to the Bombay judgment on the floor of the House, not in some school hall, which is where the assembly members, some of them have met today. You know, this is the kind of farce that the BJP and the governor are reducing the Arunachal assembly to. This is, you can see the developments here. You can see unconstitutionalism writ large. You can see a coup that is, that has got the BJP's hand, writ everywhere, all over it. And this is something that we must condemn. This is undermining every aspect of constitutional democracy.
Okay.
It is, it is a shame that this sort of activity can take place in modern India after so many judicial judgments which constrain what can be done and what cannot be done, and which, enshrine democracy and the role of the assembly itself.
All right, Gopal.
I just want to just have a comment. I do not agree with him, because the governor has done just that. He has called the session, and it was the Congress government which illegally locked the assembly. So the
decision is constitutionally valid, but in terms of procedures and norms of governance, perhaps the governor taking it a step too far?
Well, what could a governor hope to achieve by advancing a session? I think it's quite clear. The session will be advanced. The speaker will be replaced by somebody who will agree to listen to the demands of those who are dissidents. The dissidents will say we outnumber the government which is in power. The government will go into minority, and therefore a new chief minister will be installed with a new party. So now I don't know whether this meets the parameters of the Mumbai judgment, which is very clear. I'm not sure whether this even meets the parameters of other rulings and other rules that cover this kind of a defection, because this is defection on a massive scale. So I don't know whether it's defection at all. Maybe it's just a split. So Mr. Kashyap would be better.
In fact, let's put that question to Mr. Kashyap. Mr. Kashyap, would you respond to that of the fact that is it in accordance with other previous judgments in this regard, such as the Bombay one?
You see, the Bombay judgment, as the Congress spokesman very rightly quoted, provides that the question of majority has to be settled on the floor of the House. But one can argue that that is why the governor decided to call the House at the earliest opportunity, so that the question of majority can be tested on the floor of the House. So I think that goes in favor of the governor's decision. Now, if there is a motion to remove the speaker, what is required is 14 days notices to be given. And if there is a no confidence motion in the Council of Ministers, the practice and procedure is also that at the earliest opportunity it should be considered. Now, if the House does not meet for a long time and the governor feels on the basis of the evidence produced before him that the government has lost the majority support in the House, then the only alternative for him is to give to the House the earliest opportunity to state in which leader it has confidence.
All right, so Professor Gaura, then that begs the question that it really seems that as far as the constitutional validity of the decision goes, that is there, but the Congress party seems to be undergoing a split over there, where your chief minister has really lost control of the party MLAs and their confidence.
No, that issue has not been touched upon by the governor at all. If you look at the letter that he has issued, it just focuses on an early convening of the assembly, gives instructions on that the resolution on speaker's removal should be taken up, that the deputy speaker should preside, that the deputy speaker should really give a true account and a videotaped account of what goes on in the House. This sort of instructions we've never seen ever before. And basically, the question of majority is not an issue. The notification has been issued disqualifying 16 MLAs on the grounds of defection. So the question of majority being lost will not even arise after that notice comes into effect. And so this is not an issue which calls for an early summoning of the assembly. The assembly would have been summoned in a month's time. It is not a 6-month gap or anything as dramatic as you might imagine from what Mr. Kashyap said. It was going to be convened, and this is basically an unconstitutional coup being engineered by the governor. He has also broken other parameters of his role there. He has summoned the national paramilitary forces, all without consulting the government. What is law and order? Well, whose responsibility is it? What is the governor doing there? If this is going to be the precedent for how BJP appointed governors are going to behave in every state which is ruled by an opposition party, God help India, God help the Constitution of India, and we are going to see democracy going to hell, and we are going to see emergency installed from in the back door.
All right, so the Congress is really upset about the governor's decision.
Tragedy. What we're seeing today.
Aditi Fadnis, but the session starts from tomorrow. And as far as the suspension of the 16 MLAs goes, is that valid? Do you think that is something that the Congress could cite as the numbers are not in the other side's favor?
The fact is that 2 MLAs resigned and they said that their resignation was forced. Apparently, Mr. Tukey, now I'm going only by what has appeared in the newspapers in the Northeast. Mr. Tukey took letters, undated letters of signature from all the MLAs saying that we are ready to resign anytime you want. Now, all this is not really consistent with democracy. And obviously, he's under pressure. So, he's doing all kinds of things to make sure that he doesn't lose his government. And the other side is equally sure that having lost the Lok Sabha, I mean the parliament session, I don't think Rajya Sabha is going to do any more work till the 23rd. And Lok Sabha is doing something, but Lok Sabha is not the issue, it's the Rajya Sabha. So, in a sense, having lost that, I think the BJP is saying, so what do we have to lose? So, let's go ahead and do as much as we can do.
From the turn of events, if we see in the Arunachal, it clearly shows that the ruling party, their Congress, has lost the majority. What the governor has done, it has not asked for dissolution of the assembly or anything. It has said only that the opportunity should be given.
Professor Gaura was
and
saying
actually
that
the precipitation of the
16
event.
MLAs.
Now, what I want to tell is the confusion and the precipitation of the event has come from the government's action of locking the assembly and not allowing MLAs to come hold a constitutional session. This is the Congress should answer why this action has been taken. Ultimately, governor is only trying to provide an opportunity for the Congress to prove the majority. If they have the majority, then prove that there is a no confidence motion against the speaker. That is in itself is an important thing, that the speaker was acting in a partisan way and a democratic process was being subverted by the speaker itself. And there is a no confidence motion that has to be put before the assembly, and that opportunity is being given by the governor. It has neither asked for dissolution, no center has intervened in any of the issue. The session should be allowed to be held, and if the Congress has the majority, it should prove on the floor of the House. This is a democratic process which should be allowed to happen in a logical way.
Okay. In fact, we spoke to Mr. Nabam Tukhi, the Chief Minister of Arunachal Pradesh, a short while ago. I spoke to him, and he was also not very clear, Mr. Gaura, as far as whether the Congress party would be participating in that session from tomorrow or not. Perhaps you could shed clarity on that. Also, the fact that the dissent had been brewing for some time now. The former finance minister from Arunachal Pradesh had been on the warpath against the Chief Minister. Could the Congress have handled this better? Are there talks to quell the dissent within? As far as that is concerned, could you give us an update?
First, the consultations are underway, so we cannot give you any definitive answer on what is the party's response in regard to this blatantly unconstitutional move of the governor in terms of actually attending a session. The second point to remember is, parties go through internal dissidents at various times. In Karnataka, the state I'm from, you even had internal elections when the BJP was running the state, and there were divisions on who should replace the chief minister. The Congress and the UPA did not destabilize the government, did not change the ministry, did not do anything which Mr. Rajkova, the governor of Arunachal Pradesh, is doing today. See, there is a majority government in place. That governor has to take that government's consent before issuing any. In fact, can only act on the basis of the recommendations of that elected government. Why unilaterally taking these moves, making these moves by asking the deputy speaker to preside when there is an elected speaker? That again is a violation of the constitution. These are all, a whole pattern of unconstitutionality is being established there, and the BJP is happily trying to point fingers at us and our own internal issues, and throwing the constitution out, with every rule, every judicial judgment that backs the point that we are trying to make here, that the governor's actions are absolutely a fraud on the Constitution of India.
All right, I want to get in Mr. Kashyap on a matter that you raised, Professor Gaura, about the Speaker and the fact that there is an impeachment motion that is being allowed in this particular session that is being convened from tomorrow, and the Speaker has been asked not to sit on it. The Deputy Speaker has been asked by the Governor. So as far as the constitutional validity of that is concerned, Mr. Gaura is raising a question mark over that. Mr. Kashyap, could you please clarify?
You see, first I would like to repeat that so far as the established practice is concerned, the governor's action is not in keeping with the established practice. And the Congress spokesman there is right. But so far as the Constitution and the provisions in regard to the use of discretion by the governor are concerned, the Constitution very clearly says, in very simple words, that the exercise of discretion by the governor cannot be questioned. And whether the matter was in his discretion or not is also for the governor only to decide. So far, constitutionally, according to the letters of the Constitution, the governor is within his powers to do so. Whether he should have done it is another matter.
Right.
Whether he should have followed the usual practice is another matter. Political considerations I would not go into. Naturally, the political perspective of the Congress would be different according to its own interests, and the political perception of others would be according to their own interest perception. So far as the Deputy Speaker presiding is concerned, I suppose the governor might have said it in a message to the House, which he is entitled to send under Article 175, and it is the usual practice and also the position under the rules when a motion for the removal of the Speaker is to be considered, it is the Deputy Speaker who has to preside and not the Speaker himself.
All right, perhaps clarity emerging on that. Final comments now. Gopal Agarwal, the problem that the BJP now...
Let me just jump in 1 second.
Okay, very quickly. Then
there is a motion to remove the Deputy Speaker. That motion was filed 3 days before the motion to remove the Speaker.
Okay.
So which should take precedence? Who should preside? These are all issues that have again become very, very murky here. And with due respect to Shri Kashyap, what is going on here is a blatant violation of every constitutional norm and established practice and judicial judgment.
Okay. Gopal Agarwal, my question is a larger issue as far as the BJP is concerned. It seems that the governors in Raj Bhavan are increasingly becoming confrontational with chief ministers. We had Mr. Najib Jung and Mr. Arvind Kejriwal open in almost all-out political war in the national capital. Arunachal Pradesh is another example. Uttar Pradesh for that matter. And there are various other instances that have come up. So in that sense, Raj Bhavan's getting too politicized. Is that the scenario?
No, this is not a new phenomena. If you go to the history of India, there has been a conflict of position by the governor and the chief minister. This is not new that now only these kind of conflict have arisen. What we have to see, the Congress or this Congress should clarify whether their objection is based on constitution. If their objection is based on constitutional precedence or constitutional validity, then Mr. Kashyap has clearly clarified that it is within the valid constitutional procedures. If they are objecting on moral grounds or ethical grounds, then there is a clear turn of events say that they have lost the majority in the House. So both way, we do not think that Congress is right. Either if they are objecting on constitutional ground, then also they are wrong. If they are objecting on the moral and ethical ground, then also they have lost the majority. So why they are objecting? Let it be decided on the floor of the House. They should allow the session to be held and then decide on the majority.
Aditi Fadnis, what will happen? Now I have my final comments to you.
Very hard to say what will happen. I think there will be a lot of meetings in smoke-filled rooms, and there will be obviously efforts by both to form a government. But I think the BJP is going for broke, and probably we'll see a split in the Congress.
Okay, a split in the Congress party. Professor Gaura is keeping us not informed of that, or letting us wait and watch as far as how the Congress party handles that particular issue about the dissidents within. But I'd like to thank all of you for coming in today and helping us understand this issue a little better. As far as the crisis in Arunachal Pradesh is concerned, the political crisis, it's certainly developing every day and a new facet emerging almost on a daily basis. So we'll keep you updated. But that's all from now from us for now. Thanks so much for watching.